We back with another Create Mod episode. In the last one, we built this nether train that you see behind me. It looks so good, and then we finished off the episode. Oh, well, hold on. We made this train track that loops around here, connects up with our main line, and then fixed this to have a bridge all the way across back into our station. Over in the nether, we also set up at least the initial pathway for the train station, and that's what we're going to focus on today. But that's not all. We also set up this display board here that, if we had trains, we don't have that many. We only have really the one that's actually working, the one up there that goes up from our barn area where our farms are at. We have those show up here on both sides of the display board. And you all left some amazing comments that I want to get into. First and foremost, I didn't know this. I bet most of you didn't know this. Yeah, that's a blaze burner in the driver's seat. And if you give him a train schedule, he turns into the conductor. Oh, now unnamed train. Yes! That's incredible. So, we can make the Blaze our driver. I think it fits the theme really well. So shout out Goody, Guddie8 for that suggestion. That is a really good idea, and I think it looks super cool. The next one is the train name by Armand. The train name we are calling Hell Steam Express. What a great name. 10 out of 10, no notes. And then the final two are about the build itself. So first and foremost, there's a thing called a clipboard. This is actually really easy to make. I just need to go grab some paper. But when we open it, you see that it is just a normal clipboard. Allegedly, you can add text. Let's say I want to do, let's just do train schedule and then maybe click it on there. Yeah. Oh, so we can put it on the top line there, but it gets reset. And that actually makes sense, because if we check out these display links, you'll see that they're set to line 1. We're putting the display on line 1, so it'll just keep overwriting it. So if we switch them all to line 2, I think this one's already at line 2, yes. Then we should be able to place in all of these train schedule things here, and it actually looks like it's going to work. What I want to try to do is, they also said shift enter might remove these little dots, but that is not working. Anyway, I honestly think it's fine that the dots are there. I think it makes sense that, like, no train means dot be dot, and I'm fine with that. So thank you, CSM, for that info. And the final one is to switch out some of these cars for yellow for the blaze rods and black for the coal and wither skulls. And I think that's a good idea. I do feel like these kind of blend in a little bit too much. So we can actually take all of these down. Oh, it's still made of train. I gotta turn off. Bonk. And I'm hoping I can re-dye these things, because they are really expensive when you're making a ton of them. I think I needed 6 stacks of iron sheets. Yeah, so I need some yellow and black. And let's just hope that this is going to work. Uh-oh. That's not good. Yeah, it looks like we can only do item vaults. Welp, guess we need 6 more stacks of iron. And there we go, 2 stacks more of shipping containers here. Now if we just set these up, I'm probably gonna want to do yellow, black, red. I think that is gonna be the coolest, just because yellow and red are both warm colors, and then black can be in the center to mix it up just a little bit. How does it? One more. And bonk. And honestly, the black looks really cool. I kind of assumed it would, because the coal looks really cool, but I didn't think it would look as cool as it does. And I think the yellow's also going to be, yeah, that's pretty neat. I do know we have a yellow one for the, I think it's the wheat crate, but still really cool. I think that looks a lot better and doesn't blend in as much, which was kind of the worry before. Now that's all the suggestions out of the way. So let's head over to the nether and talk about what we have to do. So on paper, this should be really easy, except for the fact that I want to do it in a really cool way. So obviously we can just place tracks all the way along here, use some of the like drills or deployers or whatever, place blocks, place the tracks, and then we'll be good. But I want to make a full tunnel that looks cool, both on the inside and, if we keep going to the end here, you'll see why, over on the outside. And that is because this tunnel is going to be I think like 8 blocks tall. It's going to span over, however, this long distance across the map. So it needs to kind of look pretty cool. And I want to use glass for the floor, the whole floor. That's kind of easy to do because if we look at the create items and stuff, there's this thing called a mechanical roller. If you put this down, it will break blocks in the way like drills normally would. But if you specify a paving material, it will, when it's moving, this thing is a little bit slow, but we'll get there. When it starts going, you can see underneath here, blocks are placed underneath, even if the blocks already exist. So for things like this, we're just gonna place in some rollers and we're gonna get glass underneath there. So I suppose let's get into a creative testing world. To first build up this block breaky tunnel builder thingy, and then we also need to somehow design the tunnel that is this many blocks tall. Over in creative now, I am just going to quickly set up a little train track system here. I need a train station, but we should, if we set this up, I'm gonna do it far away because we're gonna have a ton of mechanical rollers going, but we should be able to place in one of these. Beautiful. I want to just place the seat here for now. We'll get train controls set up, and then I think just in front of the train controls, we're going to set up our rollers. I don't know how wide I want this to be. I'm going to guess we want it to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks wide, but we need the 6th block wide for the walls of the tunnel itself. So I'm thinking we have the walls of the tunnel here, and then the rest is used just for clearing out the space. So these things, if we set this to white stained glass on this, yes, that should, once I've glued everything together and connected this should let me, if I drive, right, I need an inventory with white stained glass in it. Second try is the charm. We get in this, you start placing glass. Perfect. All right, the next thing I want to do is to get in an automatic train track placing system. A thing to think about for the train track placing system is that we probably want the mechanical roller to go first, because let's say we have a block right here. If the train track placing system, like it's going to be a deployer, if that thing is in front of this, and let's rotate it, it will place the track first, potentially placing the track on this block here, which we don't want. We want to break that block first. So now that I'm actually thinking about it, I think we move all of these rollers up by 1 block. So now we can place in our deployer behind this, set it up with the train tracks that we're going to be using. We're obviously going to switch out these train tracks. I'm just using the big ones just to show what's going to happen. First, break the blocks on the way, then we place in tracks. We're going to need, again, another storage system for track placement. And then if we build this, we should just be able to go. I forgot to glue the other things. All right, second try is the charm. We're going to be placing, this deployer's a hater. Oh, you know what it could be? I think I placed this 1 block too low. I think the deployer is trying to place the block in where the glass block is specifically. So if we now try to do this, yes, we are placing in glass and placing in tracks as it's moving. I didn't know how it was going by itself, but that is perfect. Now comes the issue of going through mountains. So, ooh, it still happened. That is worrisome. Let me break this and see, hopefully a little bit better, what is happening. So we're gonna go forward. These plow thingies should be breaking those blocks, but they just totally aren't. And I don't know why this one specifically is the only one not really breaking it, because it does look like if we redo this, it does look like all the other ones will break their respective block. Oh, I lied. Does that mean they only break blocks on this block here? I suppose that's not super great. Yeah, we need to double stack these guys. Yeah, okay, maybe not, because now the issue is that we can't place 2 rollers on top of each other very easily. So instead, I think we just set up some drills on the bottom bit here, and we are assuming that all of these tracks don't exist, since we're going to be placing in the tracks behind it anyway. And even if the drills mine the tracks, honestly, that is fine because we have the deployer placing them back in. So I am just going to place these in as I would want them. And then we're going to want drills also all the way up top here. And I suppose let's just get this like 5 blocks high. We want it 9 in total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I went 1 too high. So we want the tippity top bit to be right here. And I think I want to make this not like just a square tunnel, because that would be the most lame thing that you've ever seen. I want to make it a little bit of an arch. So I'm going to do something like this, where this top block is actually going to be where our roof bit goes. And then I think if we just do something like this should probably feel, I think it does, this should probably feel like a tunnel. And now that's all glued together, let's just start it and see what happens. So if we go forward here, we are placing in blocks as expected. The game is freaking out a little bit, but we are breaking all the blocks in the way, including the ones that we weren't breaking before, and we should be able to make a straight through tunnel through this mountain. Okay, the plow things are a little bit sketch in how well they work. But I suspect if we do a scheduled boy, or we just monitor it while we're driving, I think it'll be okay. Yeah, we are now in the thick of it here. I'm really curious. I'm just holding down W if we will get a row of blocks where the plows are, and it definitely looks like they are struggling more than the drills, which is really interesting. And honestly, this is working pretty darn well. And it double looks like the only issue is the middle line of blocks where the plow things are. What are they actually called? Because I think I'm gaslighting everyone. The rollers, I think that's where the issue is. So I'm going to bring this back to the start. I probably want to set up contraption controls, because those lets you turn on and off different components. And if something messes up like it did here, we can turn off all the drills, turn off all the deployers that are going to be placing blocks, and just use the rollers to break the blocks if we need to. But I'm also going to try, yeah, we can totally do that. I am going to just have a wall of drills with the rollers behind it, because at least in my world, the rollers are a bit glitched. And thankfully, this deployer can still place blocks through them. Now that the mining bit is done, the only thing really we need to do is design a tunnel that looks cool from the inside and the outside and fits the dimensions of, let's use a block that actually won't fall, here, like this. Because we're gonna have the drills be the final wall here, so we're leveling it out with that. All right, after a little bit of testing, I've kind of thought up this design here, but then I thought of something else. Over in our survival world, we're gonna have 2 tracks, one going like this way, and then another one right next to it going the other way back to the base, because I don't want the train to just go on one track back and forth. I think that's kind of lame. So we're gonna need 2 tracks. So I'm going to need to widen the tunnel by, what, out to here? And we also need to widen the mining machine and all that other stuff. The good news though about just expanding it is that we should see that everything gets placed in, replaced, built, whatever, and nothing actually changes, which is really good news. And honestly, this by itself is probably a good enough system for most builds. You can see that on the, ooh, it looks like it missed a spot, the deployer. That is really interesting. But like those types of things are really easy to fix on another pass through. So I'm not worried about that happening once because trains are a little bit buggy in the create mod. I'm more so worried about it working on average. And another worrying thing that I was thinking about was sand not working with this thing, but it actually looks like it does because it falls and then the drills mine those. So that's actually really good news. Yeah, so this is officially the start of the track. You can see over on the right hand side where I've removed the, I forget what it's called, not a plow, but the other thing, the roller, that we are now not placing glass there. And that's because of the tunnel itself. I think we're going to have a block being placed there that is different. I just don't know what it is. Yeah, but as you can see, some of these blocks are just getting missed, and I think that's just a glitch thing that happens when you're lagging a little bit. But otherwise, I think we should be good to officially now add a tunnel to this. I want to add some contraption controls just so we can turn on and off the deployers placing, the drills placing, and the rollers doing stuff. I think that'll all be good to see. But as of right now, we have an automatic train system. The other worry that we had in our building design was that we're going to be using stairs, but I'm now actually thinking, what happens if a deployer places a stair? Because we are going to have deployers placing them. Is it always towards them? It is. What if we rotate it? Yeah, it seems to be always towards them, which isn't helpful. Which means we could probably only use walls, maybe fences, and then full blocks. And I'm also curious about half slabs. What is the deal with these? I'm going to assume bottom slabs only, but I don't actually know. Yep, bottom slabs only, that's fine. So the issue with this design, or the process of the design, is that we can't have like alternating patterns like this, because there's not really a good way to have the deployers place blocks 2 blocks apart. So we are instead going to have to do row of blocks, row of blocks like this, row of blocks above it, row of blocks above it, and then we can change the depth. So if we wanted to, we could do 2 sets of blocks, or we could do like fence gates here. All right, this is going to be the tunnel design here. I think it looks pretty sweet. I actually forgot this block here, but then otherwise we are good. And I think this looks pretty cool for something that you don't have a lot of creative freedom with. So I suppose let's set up some deployers around here. I do actually have to change these blocks here because right now it's glass. So we're going to need to change. I hope I can just do one. Yeah, it's going to change all of them. There we go. If I break this one. No. Oh, is there a way to do that differently? If I can't differentiate, yeah, it doesn't look like I can differentiate. That's probably okay. If we switch this with glass, what does it look like? Honestly, I think that's probably okay. This is what it looks like right now with the orange dirt, which is similar to the red that we're going to see in most of the nether, and then brown will also look fine. And then I think clear, like if we're going over a lava lake or something, will still look pretty good. So let's just keep it glass. I think that's easier. So yeah, I suppose let's get in a ton of deployers here. All right, we have now set up all of these deployers. I suppose I don't need all of these barrels, but we have items in these barrels, all of the items that we need. The really good thing about setting up the tunnels like this is if you just do it by barrel, you can say that, oh, the cut crimsonite wall is only placed on 2 sets of blocks here, so we have a full barrel for that, full barrel for the slabs, and then if we have 2 blocks of glass per side, then we just do 2 barrels, and that's pretty easy. So now all we have to do is glue everything together, because I do think we have not done that yet, and then we should be good to test this. So that should now all be assembled. If I build this, there we go. Okay, so these blocks have been placed in. Oh, I forgot to do that. I forgot to put in the trapdoors up at the top. Right. All right, whatever try this one is the charm. Everything's glued. Everything got placed in. We should be good now to start going. I'm so scared, but... Oh, oh my... We're going so fast. Okay. It lagged so hard a couple of times there. And other than the sand falling, for some reason, it seems to be working. The good news is that any sand that's falling in the tracks, we don't super care about. Oh, I forgot about lights. That is good to know. I am going to want to get a lighting block in here so that we can actually survive. Yeah, so this was almost certainly lag because we were going too fast. I'm not too worried about it, but honestly, this looks good. And if I tried to build this by hand, it would have taken way more time. Ooh, the tunnel looks good from the outside too. Oh, I'm so happy with this. Okay, let's real quick, as I've changed the light out for just some shroom lights that have been creatified. They work. Beautiful. Let's start going. And, oh yeah, I didn't really think about that. The drills are going to be breaking the blocks in front of us. Oh, okay. I think what was happening before with the sand falling, now that we've gotten to the front, I think the drills are breaking the sand properly, but when we were placing these in, or maybe when it was just flying by, I'm not actually sure. But when that was happening, the sand fell. So I think now that we're going, I think it is sandproof as well, which is really, really good news. And this looks so darn cool. I'm actually so excited about how this turned out. This is so sweet. And it's honestly kind of fast. And as long as I hold down W, we're good. We're now out of render distance of the track. There we go. We have gotten to the end of this mountain that we just carved through. The outside of it looks so dope. And honestly, so does this. So let's head back into Spectator so I can quickly get through here and drive back through with everything turned off so that obviously we don't break anything. Drive back through the entirety of the tunnel. This is so sick. It looks great too. Like, I didn't think that like this basic of just like you have to place one block in a row the whole time would look so good, but it totally does. And the light is absolutely necessary. You can see here the parts that I didn't put lights down just because we already placed those earlier. It is super dark, and I bet if you're not using glass here, mobs will absolutely spawn. And that is the tunnel. It looks so dope. I'm so excited to get this into survival. Before we do that though, let me quickly remove these creative boys, replace them with the things that we need, and then also, I suppose, change these deployers to the correct track type, because we are going to be using spruce tracks for our build. Over now in the survival world, we already have the track set up here. We have the schematic loaded in. I need to grab some gunpowder, but we have all the materials that we need. It's really not too bad except for the deployers. We have a bunch of drills already from, oh my goodness, I think that's from the mining machine. We needed, what, 16 by 16 stacks of drills? Times 2, because the top and the bottom, we had so many drills left to spare, so we are good on that. I totally forgot to grab some gunpowder though. After this, we will be good to start up the schematic and get to building this thing. I do need to grab a couple of more resources for the nether tunnel itself, including quite a bit of crimsonite. But first, let's build this thing. It should be really easy. Yep, so these are all going in as expected, at least for now. We should see in a second that homeboy is done. Are you? Yep, we are all done here. All I need to do now is place in one of the drills that wasn't placed in because their thingy was in the way, and this guy is gonna try to get me. But now that that's in, all we need to do is get the materials for the deployers to place in. Thankfully, we have quite a few of them, but I need to get out of here so the mobs don't destroy me. But regardless, I need to go find a red biome. Let's head to the one over there and grab a lot of logs, because that is going to be the roof of our tunnel. So maybe I shouldn't have chose such an expensive block, but it's gonna look so cool once we have it all in. All of these materials have now been gathered. I put them already in here. The crimsonite honestly was probably the most annoying to get, along with, hold on, let me not be stupid. I need to convert these shroom lights over to the fancy schmancy ones that we're actually going to be using, because we're not using normal shroom lights. I think they're called, I honestly don't remember. I have no idea. They're shroom light lanterns. These look super cool. And then I also need to actually grab a couple more tracks. Yeah, these look so dope. I need to grab a couple more tracks, and we're actually out of our little track making thing, but we have a couple more stacks. I'm gonna make more for the time being, just so that we get some more if we need it, but we should honestly probably be fine. There we go, that's now cooking. Let's head back over to the nether and honestly start this thing up. It shouldn't be too complicated, but I did already test in creative if we were able to do corners, and it seems like the answer is no. Unfortunately, the deployer that's going to be placing the tracks gets a little bit confused when the track curves, so it'll just keep placing straight tracks, and then the car will just go on those straight tracks, so it's kinda not gonna work, which means we'll have to kind of just turn off everything, turn it around, and then keep going. Not really an issue though. I'll probably just build that little part of the tunnel by hand. Thankfully, it's the only turn that we're actually gonna make, just period. So we should honestly be okay. I also need to grab a train station. I don't think I've done that yet. All right, we have the train station. Let's hook this up. Bogey. I think all the glue's connected. Let's just assemble it and see and make sure that everything gets placed in as expected. I forgot the slabs. Thank you for testing that. I totally forgot these cut crimsite, and there we go. Now, let's try it. We should see those slabs have been placed. They're going to be placed a block back, but that's fine. And then I'm going to turn on the deployer part to turn off the placement of any blocks. I need to make sure that this is, don't you dare. Cool. As I was saying, I need to make sure that this is connected. There we go. And we should be good. I'm just gonna start it. We only have the rollers placing blocks, which, and the drills, which is expected. Okay, I did notice this before. When I turned off deployers, this thing goes so slow. Drills are not mining the soul sand. Let me back up really, really quick and make sure that that should work. I mean, it almost certainly should. I am kind of interested in seeing if maybe it's the fact that we're too close to the soul sand blocks that they get confused. I don't actually know. So now let's head forward. We should see the soul sand blocks up at the top here getting broken in a second. Yeah, this is not good news to start with. I'm just gonna turn these on. Okay, so why are we so darn slow? And why is this not breaking these blocks? What in the world is going on? Oh, there we go. I got it to work just by breaking and replacing the bogey right below me. I suppose that's an issue with schematics placing bogeys, but we should now be good to actually start testing this. I'm gonna just approach. So we get there, turn this on, and start heading off. And we should see a tunnel is being made. I need to make sure that we don't go too far though, because if we get too far, I have to break all these things, and that's super annoying. Oh, I didn't think about lava. Ow. Well, it's a good thing I have elite armor. If you're doing this in your world, it might be worth setting up the deployer trick in front of this thing to block all source blocks like water, lava, things like that, because then that will prevent this issue from happening. But already, we have a tunnel. It looks, I'm so happy about this. It looks so cool. It looks so awesome. It is working phenomenally. And honestly better than I expected. Okay, we are getting more lava. Okay, it does kind of feel like... Oh, we have a little lava boy here. That's gonna be on the outside, so it doesn't matter. It feels like we're getting pretty close. Yeah, we definitely are. I think we can get a little bit closer here, but I do want to start being a little bit careful. Okay, yeah, we have officially reached the point where I'm a little bit worried. So I'm going to turn off everything but the drills, and I suppose also the, I suppose I'm just going to turn off the deployers and then leave everything else on. Okay, deployers have been turned off. We're breaking blocks, but we hopefully shouldn't be breaking, if I can see, we shouldn't be breaking any of the track pieces. So far, so good. Oh, wow. Did that just work? Amazing. And then once we get to here, since we're lined up now with the edge of the wall, I think we should be able to start this back up and get going. I do want to, though, break a couple of these blocks. Since the drills were out of the way, they wouldn't have placed those in, or I guess broken them, so that the deployers now can't place anything in. But once we have that, we should be good, and that side's plenty good. And now comes the fun part of going the entirety of the tunnel. And I think this is going to look amazing in a third-person time-lapse, so let's get that set up. Before we do that, though, the tunnel looks incredible so far. This is the smallest part of it. It's gonna look so cool. Okay, but yeah, actually time-lapse time this time. I said time so many times that time. Wow, what a versatile word. And during this little time-lapse, I wanted to talk about the brand new series that I and a bunch of other content creators are making, Createaholics Season 1. The first episode came out, I think 2 days ago, as this comes out, and if you haven't seen it, I would definitely check it out. We have so many big plans. It is a hilarious episode, and I'm so excited for it, but honestly, that's the end of this time-lapse, so let's get back to the world. And there we go, the tunnel is done. It looks so cool. What I'm gonna do first, before we check out the tunnel itself, I wanna remove this thing, and then we can take the train all the way back. So I think that'll be the play. Oh, right, I need to turn this into a train station. There we go, we've disassembled. Alrighty. And now let's hope that we can just break this thing down. I do have the schematic for it, so I'm not worried about remaking it if I ever need it. But since episode 1 of Creataholics came out, the series is probably coming to a close relatively soon, so that we can focus on that. If you haven't seen it, if you've missed it somehow, definitely check out the Creataholics episode 1 that I posted a few days ago. There we go. All of that has been removed. I'm just going to connect these two sets of tracks. And there we go. If we now set up a new bogey, I need to obviously quickly set up my train controls and seat. We should be able to just assemble train and make our way back to the start on this train. Through the tunnel that was made automatically, required thousands and thousands of blocks, and took, honestly, I think it took 3 days of gathering resources fully. It's so cool. It is almost fully done. I need to do this corner and then the end of this tunnel, because I'm not yet sure what I'm gonna do with it. Like with the portal and stuff, I need to figure this out. But we have a fully working system that gets us all the way back to the overworld, and it is working incredibly well. As for the things I mentioned as we were coming back, we will need to do that in the next episode because this episode's so long already. I think it's like 30-something minutes. So I'm going to end it here. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, if you haven't checked out Creataholics, I would absolutely do it. It is a brand new series, a bunch of new content creators, and the first episode, at least in my opinion, is hilarious. So I would definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. And subscribe if you're new. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked it, leave a like. I will see you all next time. Peace.